Welcome back everybody to the First Touch podcast. I don't know, say boy Calamity and Tato. But we're there with a special guest today, isn't it? Kishan, full 90 with Kish channel. I got in the description. Isn't it? I think you have a second channel, right?
Yeah. 433 peso. Cover
Okay.
reggae boys and them thing there. But
So
I'm
the
glad for you in our
Jamaican,
building still.
yeah, national team and thing.
Yeah. Reggae
No, no,
boys, JPL type of thing.
no problem. We can put both of them in the description same way. Isn't it? So we really want to talk about a little bit of transfer news we go on today. And over the last couple of days actually. We'll start off with Manchester United since Kishan is a Manchester United fan. Isn't me? So we see the news of Matthias Cunha and let me just pull up a Fabrizio Romano did say. Right, so Fabrizio Romano states that Manchester United are leading the race to sign Matthias Cunha from Wolves as negotiations are ongoing. Personal terms are being discussed as Manchester United are aware of more clubs keen. Plus 62.5 million pound release clause also available. Good feeling after initial contract between Cunha and Manchester United. So, Kishan, as a Manchester United fan, people, one second, may I forget for telling you. Please remember if you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell because they're gonna notify you when the video my drop. You see me? So thump up the like button for people. But yeah, back to Kishan. As a Manchester United fan, Matthias Cunha, contact with Matthias Cunha has been made. How you feel about that signing here?
Yeah, for me, I think, well, we're not signing as yet, so we can't really get ahead of ourselves, right?
Me talk that just how you feel if we would have
Yeah.
signed.
In terms of Cunha, right? I
Mm,
think before me even get to Cunha, one main criticism I had of United over the years is that we don't tend to sign the better players from the Premier League. When you look
mhm,
on Ole and Eric Ten Hag as well, the only player we did sign from the Premier we can remember for the top of my head was Mason Mount. And at the time when we signed Mount, I'm not gonna say him did dip on the decline, but him did have him injury issues, right?
no,
But
I just on the decline.
when you look on teams like Arsenal, City, Liverpool, them tend to kind of pick one and two players from the other teams in the Premier, like the better players from those teams, which we never really do. And if you look at Cunha, he's one of the better players for Wolves in recent seasons and even this season as well, right?
Mhm,
Definitely one of the better creative players in the Premier League, right? So I think in terms of how fast United is moving on this deal, I think it's something that I have to commend as well, especially due to the fact that him have a release clause. Hardly me see United go after players with release clauses, and sometimes the question as to why we not go for players with release clauses. Sometimes we go for players without release clauses and pay over the odds in a sense. You get me? I say so.
mm,
I like the look of Cunha. I hear people talk about him attitude, but when I really business about the attitude, message Mahrez did keep up foolishness at Leicester City and then him go City and him do him thing. So I just feel like Cunha just want a big move and him
mhm.
feel like this is the best way to go about it. So make him forward.
I mean, as a Manchester United fan myself, I do agree with this, and it's very promising because we supposedly still look at a striker. So Cunha would not be that striker option. He would come and be that like that number 10 role in the Amarim system, which I think that is where he best fits in. I don't see him as an out and out striker, isn't it? So
Yeah.
for me, this is a promising move. I do, however, have an issue with like, do you think 62 million pound is fair for Matthias Cunha?
I mean, what is a fair price tag for any player right now? I think with football now is you have clubs, the smaller clubs who they tend to value the players a bit more compared to the last decade or 20 years ago. So not like
Mhm,
say you can really go and buy a man for cheap from these clubs, even though those players would have been their better players. I think 62 million. I think he's worth it. In terms of what I've seen from him at Wolves, I think he will be worth it. You know what I'm saying? And again, the whole pressure will not be on him in terms of creating. Him already have Bruno Fernandez beside him. So I
mhm.
think I think it's a fair price tag for Cunha. If you're talking about getting any other attacking midfield players out there with experience and stuff, how much of them you have out there we can realistically get for a good price tag? Not many.
Not many.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
at first, when I think about it, I say maybe that's a little bit too much. I don't think Manchester United are gonna go in straight away and say, here's the release clause. I feel like they're gonna try get that down a bit. But
Yeah.
me just say in terms of Manchester United budget and what it supposedly is, maybe that's a bit over the odds. But I would really like to see this signing. Tato, what you think about Matthias Cunha at Manchester United?
My problem is we're if him get for coming into the squad, what I gonna do with Bruno? Old man Bruno, I go cope. And
Well,
again, I feel like this are where ego step in because for me, Bruno are the leading player for Manchester United, you know. And yes, we know the situation on the and want good players, and of course, Matthias Cunha is a good player. So, and as I say, he is definitely not going to be the number nine. He more going to be like a next creative midfielder, which is where Bruno is already is. So my question is, do Manchester United really need Matthias Cunha? And as I said, 62 mil for a player like that when you already have a quality player like Bruno. And also, probably
yeah,
him that be a good player for the squad, yes, but how we will work? Or is this a next player where Manchester United are going to end up kill his dream, or they going to end up be a next player where whatever or not him going to work in the system, yes or no? You know, so that's that are my problem. But otherwise, from that team, that be a good signing for them. And if they manage to find a way for make him work, well, thumbs up for them. That's
all
my
right. Kishan, you feel like you want to answer that? Like, what we are gonna do with Bruno?
I mean, Bruno will always be Bruno. You know, Bruno played with Paul Pogba and it wasn't a problem, you know,
but
even though
Paul
Pogba,
Pogba play a bit deeper.
yeah, but they both said that he was a bit deeper and it wasn't the same system, you know. But I don't think there's much of an ego with Bruno Fernandes if Cunha is supposed to come in. I've never really gotten that from Bruno Fernandes. You know, people question him leadership, but I don't think it's an ego issue with him leadership. I just think that
You
sometimes
realize what I'm with Manu after Christian joined? You realize the season before Christie when we go second and the season after when we get Christie on the jobs we are six and that as them say it have a lot to do what happened in the dressing room. As me say like if they find a way for work with it, it is good because we can pre quality and all that, but we all watch football long enough to know say quality is not everything a team needs to make them be with them is how the dressing room stay and how you look at that. Like me, if you look at someone like that, I read even Manchester, Chelsea right now with the likes of them there, they have Cole Palmer. Then we get some set of players where feed them ego, probably them see themselves as a better player than Cole Palmer. You know, so
All
well,
right. Let me answer what your question or me actually think it out
yeah,
because
oh,
Bruno Fernandes will not and will never be dropped in this Manchester United
yeah, me
team.
not gonna ever be job. I know that.
But what is most likely going to happen is me more a look pan, not what is going to happen to Bruno, what is going to happen to Amad Diallo. Is it now a case where because if you recall Amarim system, Amarim plays a 3-4-3. But the two other than the number nines are like wide attacking midfielders. So Cunha would slot into that left role that Garnacho currently occupies as that left attacking midfielder. Now, Bruno Fernandes currently occupies the midfield role beside Ugarte or Casemiro at times, or in push up further and occupies the role beside Garnacho. So him play a versatile role in the squad. Him can either play that midfield role or that right attacking midfield role. So it's a case where either one of them position there, he will slot there. But
All right, as me
what
say,
now
them gonna make
happens?
it work. They make it work.
Yeah, but what now happens to Amad Diallo? Are you going to now shift him at right wing back, which I think that takes away from his game? Me not like Amad Diallo at right wing back.
What you think, Press?
I think it's an interesting dynamic because the group may have a conversation with the guy them and may I say maybe it could have been a case where him drop back Bruno as a number 8 beside Ugarte and then him have Amad Diallo beside Cunha. You get me I say because at least Bruno give a bit more control, more central in the midfield.
Yeah,
Him have
and that's what he's been doing this season.
yeah, but then again, may I say well, the good thing is now that you mentioned it, Amorim has played him deeper, So it wouldn't be a case where we can look on it and say, you know what, him never go play him deep because he has done it this season and Bruno has looked good. And one of the main criticism we've had of that central midfield is that we don't have many passers off the ball in that midfield. Main has been out this season. Casemiro don't really have the legs he might believe in this summer, but Ugarte is limited in terms of him passing. So I think that could be an interesting dynamic where Bruno play beside Ugarte and then Cunha with Amad Diallo, which I think that Amad Diallo is limited as a right wing back. I don't think I get to see enough of him, and I think he even have to work extra harder in comparison to when he plays on number 10.
And he does do the defensive work quite well in him, do the tracking back as
Yeah.
you would want. However, I feel like it just takes away from his attacking side of the game, which is so good. You know what I mean? So I prefer not to see him there and see him in that number 10 role. But the name of the game Tato is quality. I'm feel like Manchester United are lacking so much quality. And if
We
you're going to get
disagree
a
with that.
player like Cunha, I do think that you take the opportunity. Isn't it?
I would disagree with that. Even about your team still I can say that, but for me you not lack quality. For me I just me think it's a bit deeper than quality. But anyways, different from
No,
that.
it definitely is deeper than quality. But looking at the surface level, realistically, when you look on Manchester United's bench, Garnacho is a start. I don't think Garnacho should be starting week in, week
I
out.
feel like because me even I go try to defend the whole Manchester United. But my thing is what about press just go and mention him man. I mean it about for Arsenal on the plan for the with Kobe Menu, comfortable with him coming off the bench, like
That
and
is now a next thing when we do want to get into as well. Not really spend too much time on it, but Kobe Menu off the bench. Me feel like Kobe Menu should be developing him role in the side. So it's a case where right now, I'm happy with him coming off the bench because I don't want a situation happen what happened with Garnacho and Rashford previously, where we are depend on Kobe Meno for 90 minutes, 365 days out of the year. So I am happy with him being on the bench for now, but I do think eventually he should find his way into the starting level.
I think it's quality enough. I feel like Manchester United have enough players where they do have quality to make the team be at least in the top five, like honestly. But as I said, me just feel like it's a way a bit. It's way more than just quality.
All right, no problem. But
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, though, we did get some good news recently. Ahmad Diallo is set to be back in training for Manchester United next week. So he will probably be available for that Europa League tie, which is very, very good news for Manchester United. Over
Mm-hmm.
upon the Manchester City side of things, though, I hear some rumors of Manchester City now looking at Morgan Gibbs White from Nottingham Forest. And me they tell you this the story, probably me tell it off here, but like couple years ago, probably when Morgan Gibbs White did their Wolves, my cousin did I tell me say Morgan Gibbs White is more talented than Foden and he better than Foden. You see me? So it seems that Manchester City now are looking at Morgan Gibbs White as an option to play that attacking midfield role. And I've been asked you this question previously before. Like Kevin De Bruyne is now leaving. Isn't Phil Foden supposed to be the man that steps up in that role and takes this team and he is supposed to become the man
Well,
for Manchester City?
yes, it paid out for seeing that way, there, bro. But like, if it's not supposed to be that, like you can't really
But
force it.
why is it not supposed to be? He
I
has
never
been
say it not
touted
so.
as this man to take over the team for how long now? For years.
Yeah, but
But every
as I
time
say,
for
to
me,
be
every
honest,
time
it don't
every
have to. It just that is I mean, bro, like really and truly, I feel like me I see enough in football where me as I sit, bro, I feel like the right person for answer that question there, the City fans, them, they genuinely believe that Foden was the next man to carry the torch. Because bear in mind, say me the City man, I'm gonna make you know straight. Say, for me, Phil Foden is not even world class. Phil Foden is not that
he
type.
isn't world class. I don't think nobody realistically thinks Phil Foden is world
There
class.
are
Right?
Manchester City fans where we do
Mm.
think he's world class. You do,
You think
I
he's world
confess.
class, Kish?
I think he have a world class season previously, but
Yeah,
in its
that's fine.
entirety, no, I'm not thinking world class because
Yeah, but
I think
and
world class you have to be consistent with a body of work, you know.
consistent. And the thing is, I do think based on we say when the last season, we feel like him get it's a thing where him get used to the season, so him get to do that a bit more. Cause I remember say Phil Foden a player with Manchester City like from 2017, 18, somewhere in that time. So like 5 years later, like when the last season, for me, I say yeah, finally now him break out. And then this season now him have a huge fall off where every player for me is going to have. Nothing wrong with if you get a fall off. But the thing is, in a calamity, I never yet really look and feel for it and say, wow. I think this guy is going to carry the torch for Man City. No, like really and truly, I always still have my little ifs and but with him when him reaching a certain conversation, like how people plan it out and make it look like him clear this type of debate. No, he not yet show me that type of. For be honest with you, I'm not the type of person who will give it a 24-year-old my team for carry. Really and truly, I need more experience. You know, so
No. Phil
no, well, for me,
Foden
as
didn't
myself,
have
for me, it's not a Messi.
Phil Foden is what? Like Phil Foden probably play
24.
like Phil Foden probably play like 300 games
Yes,
of
because he play in
professional
a one
football.
in play in a one Pep system where Pep allowed him to play like that, like, which is he's talented. He is talented. He's good enough for play how much in games or whatever. But at the end of the day, he's not a Messi. This is not a Messi where when Messi did take up Barcelona at mostly age 21 or with the talent to him have. I for sure say him don't have that type of me don't see me as a City fan don't see that type of talent there where we can look at him and say, yes, I him single-handedly I go do this. For me, I doubt if me ever said Foden dictate 10 match good for himself. When me can say single-handedly him carry by the scruff. I'm not just start buying him scoring 2 goals and that it. No. I'm not talk about that. Like the things that I say Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, Yaya Tour them do for over the years, even Raji. Me can't imagine Foden that I do that. Like, me remember, people talk about last season. And for me, I think a COVID season after Liverpool win the season, I think that season after 2020, mostly 2020 or 2021, for me, must say responsibility on him that season more than I must say last season. It's just as the last season him score more goals.
Mhm.
I think with City, right, when you come on to certain players, I think it's easy to be a contributing factor due to the fact that they're that great, you know. So certain things get hidden within your game. When we look on
Exactly.
Rodri, I'm look on KDB, I'm look on Bernardo Silva and David Silva over the years. You kind of
Over the
sense that
years.
maturity where the game is based around them. They are the driving force within that City team. It's like sometimes if you know City sometimes have a bad game, I say KDB come on and just change the game like that. You
Just
get me? I
change the
say
game
David
exactly.
Silva, then Bernardo Silva when them start the game is them. Everybody is centered around them. You try to take them out of the game because if you take them out of the game, then City it's more difficult for them click.
Difficult,
But with
exactly.
Foden, is he able to drive the game for Manchester City as
No.
a creative player? Which as a creative player, that is one of the main things. You know, I
Main
think over the years he has been a contributing factor to this City team. But I
to
think
this,
him going,
exactly.
yeah, I think him going on to 25 now. That is where he will be truly tested. You know,
Yes, so
because
yes,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
after next season or when like if I
me
see calamity, me make it aware.
me this like the Phil Foden age just can't be a factor, bro. He's too experienced at this point. No matter if he's at 24,
Calamity.
20
But you know, I feel like your
he's too
coach,
experienced at this point, bro.
I feel like
This
your past coach explain this best, you know. I feel
who
like Mourinho said something once where I cling to. And I'm feel like a true one. I feel like evil press just quite evil say it in a way like Phil Foden, Phil Foden is experienced, yes. Me not take that from him. And he has been playing with players that should make him be whatever you view him as. But for even me, calamity, as Mobina said, like the key players them for Manchester City fall out this season. And as soon as the key players fall out, we can say, yo, the team can rely upon. City went in reverse. You know, like
so that is my question. Why hasn't Phil Foden stepped up?
because he's one of those players where that depend on the quality of the great players, the great players in the team. The fact that a man like Ilkay Gundogan or KDB and lose them like Raji went injured. John Stone for majority of season as a leading centre back player and a good player is gone. Like it show up a man like Kyle Walker. You been and say, bro, Kyle Walker is just speed
Speed
and strength.
merchant.
Which is somebody speed merch. But we did always agree with. But when a player like Stones left the back line where him normally would have set the offside chop, tell the team when for press, lead the team in our way where just Ruben Diaz a look more aggressive out there. But even without John Stone, even Ruben Diaz look flat in the midfield, even it's without Raji, it look flat. So it shows that players like KDB, Ilkay Gundogan, players like Raji, and then did really a lead team mentality. mental wise to make them do what we do over the years to go up on the 4 feet. And we did always have the best players them. So and that's what I ever say. Saka impact on Arsenal is bigger than Foden and impact on Man City, because who really and truly you can look on Saka, you can't list 5 names and don't list. You can't list 3 top names and don't list Saka in that Arsenal team. But with the City team, you can actually list about 5 players before you call Foden name. When it comes on to the greatness what we achieved over the years. And me I be honest, bro. I get who get paid to last season again. Foden though. And me I sure me tell you, I think he deserve that.
But me tell you that for a long time. But they were gone off on a Foden tangent. Where that's a Kish?
Let me add something to this, right? I think with Foden, right? Ever since the 70s, this is when VAR start get introduced. City get knocked out by Spurs. Right? Around them time, the Foden start come to prominence in terms of the first team, right? Over the years, Foden has always been dripped, fed water droplets in the City team. Like every now and then, Pep put him in because Pep now go just give one youngster enough game like that. But every now and then they see him. City is blowing out a game. Foden can contribute, score 1 goal. It doesn't mean anything, He's taking his chances at the end of the day. But still, when you have Ilkay Gundogan, KDB, Bernardo Silva, these 3 players in specific, they've always had wonderful seasons for City. Last season, Foden, that was his best season for City, right? But City has been dominant throughout the years, and it has been down to the more senior players. So when KDB them that go missing, Foden now should have been the one to step up, which he hasn't shown that. So next season will also be an important season in which he show it. And as I said, Saka impact on Arsenal is more than Foden because City was already built. Arsenal, you can't say them build it around Saka to an extent. When Saka isn't there, them still get results, but not as consistent, Saka come back from injury, but I got things say take a couple games for him, get back up to speed in a quick snap of a finger, the man dead already, isn't it?
I think him score right for the days of return.
Yeah. Yeah. As my dad said, we're going off on a Foden tangent. I want to actually talk about the baller who is linked. Morgan Gibbs White.
No, because you asked the question about Foden. Remember I said
you asked the question about Foden because that's literally the position where Foden's supposed to play. So Morgan Gibbs White.
Morgan Gibbs White, do I think him can come lead the team?
No, not lead the team, but do you think he would be that signing, that number 10 for come in and fill some sort of creative loss in a Manchester City time?
I honestly do think without let me tell you no, I'm not gonna say him. I'm gonna say question. No, I don't believe that he's that player where I come take out our loss and fine. I don't believe that.
No, if him I go feel a creative void. So I feel like with De Bruyne leaving now,
if I'm gonna be the creator.
Yeah, if it might come fill that void of a creator.
Well, I do see that. I do see that talent in him where he can create. Like he probably not be the last man on the ball, but I do see him as the man who can start the player, who can broke up players and create him own going forward. Like I do see, and I think like from what I'm being I said yes, I do think that Gibbs White is somewhat near to Foden, if not better. So if him come to City, Pep use him and use him right. Do not try use this man at left back, right back, or anyway, it's like what I do with Nunes. Like once him utilate the youth the right way, I think he would play good and do what he's supposed to do, and with experience and with more season coming in and more time at City, yes, I think he will do it.
Me personally just don't want them turn out like a Calvin Phillips. What do you think about it?
Definitely.
Ara Nunes from Nunes did left again. Which one did left? Wolves? Same Wolves?
Wolves, same Wolves.
Yeah. I think Gibbs White is a quality player, I think he's definitely different than Foden in terms of I think he's more on the ball in terms of him more on the ball for create chances, compared to Foden, which me don't ask the question if you think Foden is more like a pocket player where him just going at the pocket them 1-2, then him take him shot, score a goal, or
I always tell people that people seem to assume that Phil Foden is this creative outlet, which I never see him as that. Anytime I watch him, he's a ball carrier, dribbler for the ball, and he pick up them half spaces there, play some 1-2s. You never really see Foden play that final KDB pass. That task is always left to KDB. If KDB is not on the pitch, then City just do this like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 for try get into the box. Them never really, there's no KDB replacement in the City team currently. And Phil Foden does not provide that creative outlet that I think City needs. I feel like he's a dribbler and he's a good ball carrier. But him pick up them pockets, half spaces there, and them areas the way him can get free for take a shot or make a one pass around the corner or whatsoever. That's what me see for them.
And I think that would be the difference with him and Gibbs White, where Gibbs White actually wants to be on the ball. That is the characteristic of Gibbs White, where he want the ball, he want to create spaces for him teammate, he want to create those chances, So I think more responsibility will be on Gibbs White to an extent. And I'm not gonna say City in a trouble next season, but the midfield is something where them have to get right next season if them have any chance of winning the league.
I do think
Rodri is going to be backing us. So
no, but I say creative wise, like
yeah.
KDB I leave.
Rodri
So
is also a deeper kind of creator as well. Because Rodri does create.
Yeah, and I do think I'm really believe and me know for sure. Once what players them are on injury right now, if them come next season fully fit and manage to play majority of next season, this problem we're in for that season won't be a problem next season.
Technically, who are you talking though? Because Kevin De Bruyne is going to be leaving. Bernardo Silva is going to be leaving.
Calamity.
Gundogan, then they extend Gundogan contract.
I think they extend by a year.
Them extend Gundogan contract by a year. But Gundogan is not Gundogan like Gundogan used to be. So who exactly are you talking?
Gundogan never was really a something there. Me I talk like me really I focus more like on my backline. I feel like a dear so where majority of my problem I happen. I can't see too much. I honestly feel like Ake, Akanji and Stones. I feel like once they are fit and can manage to play a majority of next season, the whole heap of goals where we are concede backline error. Like I'm not gonna say Akanji and Ake do. No, they are limitless to making mistakes. But I feel like one mistake a game and that's it, and then when manage to carry out first, I'm gonna see them do it more than one season, really and truly. And in terms of the midfield, like I feel like Pep would figure that out. Honestly.
All right.
To be fair to City, I just look on the table now, and despite the whole heap of injuries, City still managed to score more goals than Arsenal.
More goals. That's what I'm saying. I have a defensive problem.
Yeah, that's a defensive problem.
I've never say like attacking or score goals. Never this have a problem. There's because bro, if I really think about it, you have some games where we did score like some. They remember the game where we go up 3-0 and the team come back 3-0 and draw with me in UCL.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see how the summer plays out. I don't know. So we are gonna review transfers as they come.